Hey guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go to this great email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy, sounds like he's about 35 years old, and he's going to share his story about events that happened about 9 years ago with his now ex-fiancée. And why, you may be wondering, is she his ex-fiancée? Because you're going to see she was dumb enough to ask him for an open relationship. Ask a guy who was great to her, who truly was great to her, her family, all that, for an open relationship. And you're going to see things don't exactly work out as she expected, because this guy handles the situation like an absolute boss. I don't give that award very often, but this guy certainly does. And you're going to see also that he doesn't just end it with her when she requests the open marriage. Oh, no. He has his fun with her. And let me tell you, the fun that'd be equivalent to a mind F-U-C-K. The way that a lot of gals will mind F guys, he does it to her. And you're going to see in this story, guys, like I said, that he is really good to her. He really was a great guy to her and loving and caring toward her, her family. And unfortunately, she mistook that kindness for weakness, which happens a lot, and it blew up in her face. So that'd be a great one to go over here, guys. And there's a lot of lessons in this story. Aside from the entertainment factor, there's a lot of lessons here. And one of the biggest ones is about what happens when your girl, or any woman for that matter, has too much certainty with their guy. A common theme to a lot of these stories I do with the guys that are treated so badly is that the women, they see weakness. Whether it's actual weakness that we could all agree is weakness, or it's perceived weakness on their part. And typically that perceived weakness is when a guy simply treats her like a human being and does kind things for a woman that he loves and thought loves him. And when that happens, that's when BS can happen. Doesn't always mean that she's going to request an open relationship or cheat, but there could be testing and drama and that type of crap. A woman's going to know that a guy, you push him too far, he is out of there. Okay? And if you're too nice to her, too giving, too accommodating, take too many hardships on yourself for her, that's going to be seen as weakness amongst many other things. So a lot of lessons there. And of course, as I tell you all, never, ever accept the open relationship or marriage. It is done. And the odds are, if she requests that, she already has somebody in mind, all ready to go, or somebody's, or there's already somebody else that's giving sausage to her. Guaranteed. So grab your popcorn, crack open a drink. You're going to really like this story here. So he starts off, he says, Hi SSM. I've been watching your content for a little while now, and I've noticed that the community really enjoys open relationship stories. My story isn't as exciting or dramatic as some of the others you've shared, but I think you and the community might appreciate it. Dude, this is one of the better stories I've heard in a while. This is an excellent story. I know I made several mistakes through the whole thing and will deserve your ridicule, but I think I came out okay in the end. Feel free to use my story in the channel if you want to share it. You guys, you're going to see he makes mistakes, and I will point them out. But, oh dear God, does he redeem himself. So my ex and I met when I was in my second year of my 3-year profession program. She worked at the gym that I trained at, and she was very beautiful. So we'd flirt, and when I saw her there, I asked for her phone number, and she gave it to me, and we arranged to meet up for a drink. Hey. So far, so good. Good for you for having balls to ask out the hot chick at the gym. I'm impressed. I noticed he said a drink, not a 5-course meal at the freaking expensive steakhouse in the city. One drink. We hit off great and started dating immediately. I was 26 years old at the time, and she was 22. In addition to working at the gym, she was studying marketing. She wanted to do fitness-related marketing as a career. Uh-oh. When I hear that, fitness-related marketing, and she's beautiful and works at the gym, that makes me think social media and selfies and a lot of attention online. She wanted to do fitness-related marketing as a career. It was 2014, so I don't think the term influencer had been popularized yet. But that is pretty much what she wanted to do. There you go. We dated exclusively from then on, and things were pretty great. I finished my program, passed my licensing exams, and got a great job pretty much straight away. I worked a lot, but there was considerable flexibility when it came to my schedule. There were times where I would have mandatory hours with clients or meetings, but a lot of my work I could do at any time that I wanted and could do quite a lot of work from my home. If I wanted to go out for a few hours to the gym, then I could work late as long as I was productive and did quality work. Dude, that sounds like an awesome situation. She finished her degree and got a job with a company. It was a good entry-level marketing job, but she stayed on at the gym part-time so she could work out and tan for free. Plus, she liked working out there. When we'd been together for about 2 years, things went bad for her family. Her father became very ill and couldn't work anymore. And her mother had never worked outside of the home. He didn't have health insurance and they hadn't prepared well for the future, so when he couldn't work, they quickly burned through their small savings and they needed financial support. So, gentlemen, you can probably see where things are starting to go here. And that is a shame about her dad. Got really sick, didn't have a lot of money, not health insurance. There's a lot of people in boats like that. That's why I urge you guys early on to save your money, to invest it properly, and invest for an emergency fund. Build wealth from an early age and be smart about your money. Live beneath your means. Don't piss away your money on bullshit. So later in life, you got plenty of reserves. Of course, you have insurance, all that. My ex was their only child, so all the burden fell on her. And she loved her parents and wanted to help them out. I was doing quite well at the time, but she didn't ask me for money. Instead, she asked if she could move in with me. Her lease was coming up, and she thought she could save money by splitting the bills with me in my place rather than paying for her own. So where's the problem here? Now, they were having a good thing going. Dad got sick. She needs to save money so she can spend it and help her family. And I respect that. But the problem is, now essentially he's the one funding it. She moves in with him. And by the way, we all know darn well that the likelihood is she moves in to split the bills, and suddenly she's starting to forget to pay him for the electric bill, or the rent, or the cable. Or thinking, maybe he'll feel bad for me, and he'll pay all the bills, and I can use that money. Essentially being used for resources. I told her that was a big step, and I wanted to think about it. But honestly, her parents were really decent people, and she and I had already discussed getting married, so while it was sooner than I liked, I invited her to move in. Smack! You did it for the wrong reasons, man. That's kind of you to want to help her and her family and all that, and you thought that she was great. I get that, but it was too soon and for the wrong reasons, and watch this. I also told her not to worry about covering her half of the bills. Smack! Like I said, I was doing well and her parents really needed the support. Plus, I don't think she realized that half of the bills at my place was probably as much or more than she was paying for her small apartment. Maybe she did. Maybe she figured that you would just say, don't pay for anything. You can't rule that out given how this story is going to go, bro. So she told her apartment manager that she wasn't renewing, and 2 months later we moved in. Things went well. She wasn't messy or particularly annoying, and we continued to get along. She was really stressed out, working 2 jobs and having her parents depend on her, but overall things were still good. Whatever else I might have had to say about her, she was a very hard worker and went above and beyond for her parents. Okay, both those things are admirable at this point, but still, she moved in too soon for the wrong reasons. The only reason you have a chick move in with you is you've been with her for a very long time and you are serious about marrying her, if that's what you want to do. That's like the final test. And we all know, even then, that they can fake their way through things, but you get my point. Sadly, a little less than a year later, after she moved in with me, her dad passed away from his medical issues. It was really difficult as he deteriorated a great deal before the end. After his death, his mother went to stay with her brother. Brother? I thought she was an only child. Oh, the mother's brother. Okay, my bad. My ex took things pretty bad. She loved her dad, and she'd worked so hard to try to take care of him. I told her that if she wanted to, I would be okay with her taking some time away from working so that she could recover, recharge her batteries, and maybe find some passion again. Smack! Bad idea. She's got to have a job. She can't sit around the house and miss her dad and be depressed all the time. She needs to get out of the house, and she's got to bring in some money. It's not fair being all on you. I understand your heart was in the right place, but bad idea. And she could do some fitness-related thing like she used to talk about wanting to do. I was making enough money for the both of us, and all her income was pretty much going to her dad anyway. So it really wouldn't take much of a difference to me. At first she said no, but I told her it was really okay. She had been asked more than once hang on. She'd been asked more than was fair from her parents' circumstances, and this was something that I wanted to do for her. She was extremely grateful, and I decided to propose. I know it was stupid, but I felt really bad for her and wanted to do something to make her happy. Smack. You don't propose because you feel bad for her. You do when you're absolutely ready, and this is not a time. And by the way, one thing I forgot to mention earlier, guys, and this may sound harsh, but it needs to be addressed. If you have a girl that you're serious with, and you're the marrying type, it's your culture, religion, whatever, and her parents have money problems, therefore she's helping them, that's going to become your money problems. You must be aware. So keep that type of thing in mind, guys, your relationship folks. Anyway, it says here, I proposed. She said yes, and things continue to be mostly good for the next year or so. We still got along. I worked a lot, but with my flexibility, we still spent a lot of time together. She looked for jobs and even did a few interviews, but nothing really appealed to her, and I wasn't in much of a hurry for her to find work. She couldn't find work after a year. This is 2017 or so, 2018. The economy was pretty good then. But she knows she can take her sweet-ass time. She was still working a few evenings at the gym during the week, but I guess she was bored or met somebody else or something. So one day, she asked me if we could talk, and I said yes. And she told me that she'd been reading up about open relationships and asked me what I thought about them. I told her I really didn't know much about them, but that I was happy on how things were going with us. It was 2018, so open relationships were not mainstream like they are now, but I knew enough to know that I had no interest. She said that she'd been reading through the benefits of open relationships, and she thought it'd be a good idea. So, this is how she thanks you. We all heard it. You let her move in. She'd have to pay a dime, so she could give all the money to her parents to help her sick dad, her mom, all that. You told her after he passed away, because you felt bad for her, that she didn't have to work so she could work her shit out. You proposed to her, and this is her thanks. Gentlemen, this is what I'm talking about when you give a girl too much certainty. She's thinking, I got it made. I got this guy wrapped around my finger. He ain't going anywhere. Look at all the things he's done for me. His kindness, when it was kindness, was perceived for weakness, and look what he got. It's terrible. Now, right then and there, especially nowadays when everybody knows what open marriages are, open relationships, he should have said, take your shit and get the F out and give my ring back. But you're going to see he handles it a different way. But this poor guy, he's such a good boyfriend to her. A woman's dream come true the way he treated her. I bet you that her dad is turning in his grave, her doing this. But watch how he handles things. Don't leave yet. Watch this, guys. I told her I would think about it and really hoped that she would just drop the idea and we could just carry on and pretend like it never happened. She kept dropping hints and sending me links to articles. Finally, after about 2 weeks, she asked me again to talk. She sat down and asked if I thought about it. I told her I've done some research and there appeared to be some downside and risk to these situations. I told her that if we open the relationship, that our relationship might change in ways that we might not like. She assured me that we were rock solid and that our relationship would be even better. Even better for her, and she could probably find some other guy that maybe she could make more money and she can mooch off of. Or she can just have her cake and eat it too, as the saying goes, and she can have you. Meanwhile, get with a guy or guys that she likes. And remember, the odds are she's already hooking up with somebody else, or there's somebody else that she likes and is, waiting for her free pass to cheat. I told her that if she felt like this is something she needed, then we could give it a try. But that if things went sideways, it was her fault. Because I didn't think it was a good idea. Good luck, things go sideways, her admitting it's her fault. He says, side note here, I had no intention of tolerating an open relationship with her, but I had hoped that she would come around to her senses before she did anything stupid. She'd been having a really difficult time with her family and stuff, and I felt bad for her, so I wanted to give her a chance. Well, side note, she fails. For the next several days, things go on. She was in a really good mood, I guess excited about the possibility of sleeping with new guys, and I was still upset and pretty distant. And she could care less. She could see he's upset. unhappy, and knows everything he did for her, she could care less. Actions, gentlemen, you pay attention to actions. But don't worry, she's going to be upset very soon. But she hadn't said anything or mentioned going out, so I continued to hope that she would step back from the ledge that she was on. About a week later, she came home from the gym and she told me that she made a date for Friday night. She wanted to tell me who it was with and where they were going for her safety. I didn't say anything and still had a little faith that she would call the whole thing off and realized she was making a mistake before she went through with it, because once she did, there was no turning back. That Friday came, I asked her if the date was still on, and she said yes, and she was planning on showering and getting ready soon. I asked her if we could talk. She sort of freaked out and said, "Oh my God, you're breaking up with me." I said no, that I didn't want to break up, but since we were no longer committed exclusively to one another, that I didn't think we were anywhere close to the position where we should consider marriage. Whoosh. Let the waterworks begin. She looked kind of shocked. Then I asked for the engagement ring back, and she busted out into tears. My man. She tried to argue, but I reminded her that this open relationship thing was supposed to be good for us, and maybe this was just part of the process. She whined and cried, but eventually handed the ring over. Dude, you're a badass. Got that ring back. This is only phase 1, guys. I told her there was more. That given the state of our relationship, I no longer felt comfortable having our financial and personal lives entangled with each other to the extent that they have been. I asked her what a reasonable time frame was for her to find a job and take over a portion of all the financial costs. The color pretty much drained from her face, and she sputtered and said she needed something like 6 months to a year. 6 months to a year? It's 2018. The economy was pretty darn strong at this point. She can find a freaking job. 6 months to a year, my butt. I told her I thought 3 months was more like it, and since I was such a reasonable guy, I didn't think it was fair to require her to pay half of her costs, given the difference in our earnings. But I did think that she could comfortably handle 1/3 of our bills in addition to her own. I gave her a rough approximation of what that amount would be, and she just fell apart. She got up and left the room. I assumed it was ready to get ready for her date. But she came back into our living room about 20 minutes later in her house clothes. I asked her, "What about your date?" And she told me she canceled it because she didn't feel like going out anymore. She asked me if I wanted to order takeout and spend the evening at home watching movies. And I apologized and told her that I had plans tonight. I told her that I'd probably be back pretty late, so don't wait up for me. And I left her $50 to order takeout. She started crying again, but I told her I'd see her later. Dude, when I was reading your story for the first time, I didn't see it going this way. You're badass. I got home late, around 2:30 in the morning, and she was still awake, sitting on the couch, and I could tell she's been crying. Aw, poor baby. She was trying to pry information out of me without asking if I'd been with another woman. I didn't really give her anything, and just told her that I was very tired and I wanted to have a shower and go to bed. She asked if I wanted her to join me in the shower, but I declined. I showered and went to bed. Dude, she was probably losing her freaking mind. Never in a million years did she expect that. She expected you just to go along with it, and she can get all the sauces she wants and didn't care at all. You completely blindsided her. The next morning, she said she wanted to talk. She told me she was sorry about everything and wanted to go back to the way things were before. Oh, no, honey. You had your chance. I told her that the open relationship was working out just fine for me. I knew that would rub a little salt in the wound and let her know exactly what happened the night before, and that I was worried that she only wanted to change things now because she wanted me to support her financially. That's exactly what happened, dude. And she didn't think you'd be going out with other chicks. And she didn't think you would call off the engagement and take back the ring. She swore that wasn't the case. I told her I couldn't force her to see other people, but that I intended to continue doing so. And that she needed to take over her share of the finances to prove that she wasn't just with me for the money. And when our relationship became more stable and committed again, then maybe we could revisit the arrangement. She cried again, but couldn't really do anything more. Now, ordinarily, I would say just end it, break up with her, but this is way too funny. I was done with her at this point, but I guess I'm kind of vindictive and wanted to make sure she understood what she's done wrong. She found a decent job fairly quickly and kept her job at the gym. Imagine that. What happened to 6 months to a year for her to find a good job, and she just found it like that? When she suddenly has to prove to keep you around, amazing the magic that happens. She could handle her share of the bills, but she was working so much that she had little time for anything else. I, on the other hand, still had a good deal of schedule flexibility, and now had even more time on my hands since she was very busy. So I had 2 friends with benefits I saw regularly and go out a couple nights a week with friends. Essentially, I was living like I did when I was single, going out with friends, meeting new people, working out, and pursuing my hobbies in my free time. So she's working her tail off, meanwhile you have your flexible schedule and great job, and you're hooking up with 2 other chicks. And she knows this, and it's making her insane. She brought this all on herself. Over the next several months, Jesus, you put her through this shit for months? Over the next several months, she periodically apologized and asked if we could close the relationship. And I always told her that I wasn't ready yet, and she remained free to arrange her own dates. But she was so busy and tired all the time that she never really saw anybody else. We were living like roommates and hadn't been physically intimate since before the open relationship officially started, when she planned her first date. Things finally boiled over one Saturday night when I got home pretty late and she tried to initiate sex. I rejected her. She freaked out and issued an ultimatum. Hang on here. She's issuing an ultimatum to the guy who holds all the cards, to the guy who has all the leverage, all the power. She's the one that wants the relationship more. Therefore, she's the weakened position in the situation. She's giving you an ultimatum. This should be good. Her ultimatum was this: either we close the relationship or we are done. I laughed at her and told her I've been done for months now. She cried and apologized and again asked if we could start over. But I guess I decided that she'd been through enough, so I told her that we are done. I told her to go to sleep, and in the morning we'll discuss arrangements for her to move out. She begged and bargained and told me that we could keep things the way they were, but I just didn't want to do that to her anymore. We were wasting time, and I remembered how good things were and the kind of person that she used to be. Dude, no, this is who she is. What you had before, no. That's not the real her. This shit. Her, you being amazing to her and her family, what you did for her and her family, and kind and understanding and generous and loving, and how she repaid you with the open relationship thing, that's who she is. I didn't want to prolong the pain anymore for her or myself anymore, so I explained that we would be best served by going our separate ways, and that I would do all I could to help her get on her feet. I essentially offered to allow her to stay for free for 2 or 3 months so she could save on her portion of the bills to set up on her own place. It was a bad idea, I know, but I felt bad for her, and she didn't really have anybody else in her life. I'm sure a hot late 20-something like her could easily find somebody else to shack up with. She ended up staying for a little over 1 month before she found a coworker who was looking for a roommate. That month was pretty awkward, but we weren't home at the same time very often. She tried once again, one last time just before she moved out, to ask if we could start over again, but I said no. I asked her what the hell she was thinking with the open relationship shit. Did she really think that I would sit around and wait while she smashed other dudes? Did she think I didn't have other options? She said that there was just a guy from the gym that she had a crush on, and she wanted to hook up with him a couple times and then close the relationship again. There you go. Either they're hooking up with somebody else or they got somebody in mind. Right here. And I don't know if I buy that story that they never did it. She thought that I loved her more than to move on so quickly, and by the time she scratched her itch, we could just get back to normal. Loved her more. I liked a little trying to insult you there. She was freaking out about getting married and just needed to get it out of her system. I just laughed and asked her if it was worth it. She started crying again and said she never even hooked up with him. I'm not sure that I believe her. I don't believe it either. That's been about 5 years ago now. I see her from time to time and she acts all nice, like nothing happened. She tried to circle back and restart things or even just hook up, but I'm not interested in going down that road. Very smart, bro. A leopard doesn't change his spot. She's the same person she was back then. But now she's older, and you can get a younger chick. I'm doing great, but I don't think she ever got serious with anybody else after things ended with me. I know I should have ended things as soon as the conversation came up, or at several points after, but I didn't. I hope she'd realize how badly she was about to destroy things and take a step back, but she never did. Lesson learned, I guess. I've not really had a serious relationship since. Anyway, maybe there are lessons you can find for the community here. Sorry if it was a little long, but hopefully it was an entertaining story. Best wishes, brother. Dude, this story of yours, when I printed it out, was 8 pages long. It could have been 80 pages long and I would have done your story. It would have been an 8-part series and the brothers would be dying every day to hear more, but I would have done it. That was awesome. You're a fucking boss. Yes, you made mistakes, as all guys do, and I certainly did when I was younger, but you did it out of the kindness of your heart because you obviously cared about her family and you felt bad. Her dad was dying and they didn't have any money, and we can put aside that issue about not having any money and whatever. But the point is, you were great to her, and a dream come true to any woman. And I'm sure her dad was turning in his fucking grave when he, if he could see what the stunt she pulled. But no, it was a great story. And the lesson is, guys, like I said, is that sadly, when they see weakness or perceive weakness, that's a better way to describe perceive weakness, like treating them like a human being, being good to them, they lose respect. And if a woman doesn't respect you, she doesn't love you and pulls bullshit. This is why it's so important, guys, that women have to respect you. And even you can't do super nice things that'll be conceived perceived weakness, because you did put yourself at a disadvantage if she was living with you and you're paying for everything. So, and when women know when guys are putting themselves at a disadvantage to them, and look what happens. So, but yes, you could have kicked her to the curb the second she brought it up, and I'm sure it really hurt, and I'm sorry you went through that, but it's pretty funny what you did, and certainly provides great entertainment for all the guys. This will be a popular video, guaranteed. And you're going to have 50,000 dudes watching this around the world and be laughing their asses off here. So, good for you. So, anyhow, you're 35. You are in your prime, dude. If you still have that great job, which I'm assuming you do, just keep living your life the way you've been. Doing what you love, hanging out with your bros, your friends, your family. If you're a guy, you said you haven't had a relationship since, but you probably have hooked up here and there. Just be careful. Save your money, invest it, grow it, and you're going to be fine. And just see where things go. But never forget the lessons you learn. And I wish you all the best. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let this guy know what you think. Really, give this guy some praise in the comment section. He earned it. Definitely give this guy a shout out for what he did here. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.